Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Terrence Height here, CEO of The Height Effect. I get the question all the time, how do I get money for my business? Or what are the different ways I can raise funding for my business, or I need funding for my business? And the first thing I ask people is, do you understand the different types of funding and what it means to fund your business? So today we're going to talk about debt funding versus equity funding. We'll start with debt funding. So when you talk about debt funding, you want to think about banks, right? And what do banks give out to people that need money? They give out loans. So for debt funding, you want to think in terms of a loan. Now for equity funding, and we'll go through these one at a time, and I just want to get these out here so you can know the difference before I move through the different details of each. But for equity funding, you want to think about investors. If you watch Shark Tank or ever seen a pitch competition, you know, they talk about how much equity are you willing to give up in your company for this. So you want to think about an investment. The first thing about debt funding, which is again a loan, is that you're able to retain your ownership of your business. You don't have to give up ownership of your business in order to secure a loan. But you do have to give up, which is number 2 on here, collateral. The third difference here that I want you to understand is that debt funding is typically for more established businesses. So a lot of new businesses and people that are just starting out or even have ideas, you typically can't go to a bank and get any type of loan because they're going to want to see that you've been around for a period of time, typically like 3 to 5 years. They want to see your cash flow statements, all your different financials. You know, what are your revenues looking like? What are your profits? Because the bank wants to is already taking a risk by betting on the startup anyway. So they want to make sure that they're decreasing their risk or minimizing their risk as best as possible. Typically for more established businesses. So you may be saying, okay, I do want to keep ownership. I don't have any collateral to put down, and then I'm not an established business, so what do I need to do? Well, maybe look at this side, which is the equity side, the investment side. Now, there are pros and cons to this too. The first thing is that giving ownership to the investor, the people that invest in your business. So you have to keep that in mind. If you want to retain 100% of your business, then you don't want to maybe go down that route. Maybe you need to build it up and bootstrap it more, or figure out different ways of funding through friends and family, or finding somebody that you know that has the money to give you a line of credit, for instance, that you can pull from as you need money. The next is that there's no collateral required. There's no collateral required, meaning you don't have to put anything down. So with debt funding, you may have to put up your house as collateral. And then when your business fails and is debt funded, then they're coming after your house if you can't afford to pay them back. Well, with equity funding, you don't have to put down any collateral and the business fails. That's just the risk that they take. And the third differentiator between debt and equity funding is that equity funding is for less established businesses. So that's supposed to be an E. Anyway, equity funding is for less established businesses. Equity funders, because they're taking a bigger risk by not requiring any collateral, meaning that they may not be able to get paid back after the business is gone, and they're taking the risk because it's a newer business, so it's less established, they want you to give up ownership of your business. Whereas a bank, because they do require collateral, and they want more established businesses, you get to keep the ownership. So again, these are just the differences between debt and equity funding. Again, debt funding is a loan, something you get from a bank, private institution, private lenders. And then you have equity funding, which is an investment you can get through private institutions or through angel investors, angel investor networks, etc. This was Terrence Height, CEO of The Height Effect. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out.
I lose sleep over money, you lose sleep over emotion. Your confidence gets eroded around this type of opponent.